And welcome, football fans, to Tim Reynolds Show's live preview and predictions for the 2026 NFL Divisional Round playoffs. And guys, it's a stacked divisional round as we get to all the games here today. We'll preview and give my predictions for each of these matchups here. And guys, there's only 7 games left in the NFL season, so let's try to appreciate every single one of these moments. And don't forget, guys, we'll also be doing live play-by-play on Tim Reynolds Show for every single one of these matchups in the 2026 NFL playoffs. The divisional round is going to be a stacked round of teams that have made it this far to start the NFL playoffs. And man, what a crazy season it's been. No wonder we're about to get into one of the best parts of football here, guys, coming up here. And honestly, in my opinion, I think all of these teams are capable of being Super Bowl champions by the time we get to the Super Bowl and at the end of the season here. But we'll have to see what happens here and what preview and predictions and sort of notes I'm going to have here on all of these games. Hope you guys will like and subscribe to the channel. And thank you so much for hanging out here on Tim Reynolds Show. It's going to be a stacked weekend, guys. We got 2 games today that we're going to be doing live play-by-play of, with the Bills taking on the Denver Broncos. And we'll also have tonight the Seattle Seahawks taking on the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers will be on the road in that one. Then tomorrow we got the Rams at the Bears tomorrow night. And then also we've got the Patriots versus the Texans. So it should be a very, very good matchup of all of these divisional round teams. What's up, Joshua, in the chat? Hope you're doing well there, brother. So, all right, let's go ahead and get to our first set of matchups here today, guys. And we'll start with the Buffalo Bills taking on the Denver Broncos. Now, we're going to see a battle here between these two teams as we see Denver comes in as a 1.5-point favorite. This line has been getting smaller and smaller all week long with a 45.5-point total expected here in this one. Now, I think the defenses are really going to play a big part into who wins this matchup and advances to the AFC Championship. But I've got to tell you guys that today, this is going to be probably one of the best matchups we're going to see, with quarterback Josh Allen going up against this stout pass rush for the Denver Broncos defense. Now, really, that's what I'm going to focus on in this particular matchup, because let's face it, this Denver Broncos defense is one of the best, if not the best defense in the league. In my opinion, they're probably the second, or they're definitely top 3 in the playoffs right now, with them, the Texans, and Seattle being the top defenses left in the playoffs this season. So for me, the Denver Broncos' strength this season has been their pass rush. They have 68 sacks this season, which leads the NFL. So that's going to be a big part into how well this pass rush can get to Josh Allen and force him to make mistakes, and also keep him in the pocket, because we all know when quarterback Josh Allen starts to get loose and use his legs to his advantage, it definitely helps out his team and will allow them to get into the end zone and get more points on the scoreboard. So for the Denver Broncos, they've got to be able to corral this quarterback and his playmaking ability to be able to get outside the pocket, when really, if they can keep him in the pocket and their secondary, which is one of the best secondaries in the league, can make some turnovers or bat some passes down, that's going to make a lot of second and third and longs for this Buffalo's offense. But for Buffalo's offense, they're going to need to look to counteract that pass rush with a bunch of Dalvin Cook. Guys, this man has been on a tear this year. As we look at the stats here for James Cook, over 300 carries this season and over 1,600 rushing yards this season. He leads the NFL in rushing yards. He's also tied for 6th with 12 TDs on the year. And for me, James Cook is going to be the key playmaker to look out for here in this offense for the Buffalo Bills, because they're going to need to run the football on offense to really help go against that pass rush of the Denver Broncos. So they'll be able to counteract that pass rush if they're able to run the football really well. And we know Josh Allen is probably the best play action quarterback in the NFL right now. So if he's able to have that sort of game plan on his offense and that balance between the run game and the passing game, that's really going to help out this Buffalo offense going forward. Now, let's get to the big key of this particular matchup with the Buffalo Bills taking on the Denver Broncos. Really, they're up in Denver in the altitude, So what I'm really looking at is how this Buffalo Bills defense will match up against Bo Nix and this Denver Broncos offense. For the Broncos, I think the running game needs to get a little bit better. They're going to need to lean on their rookie RJ Harvey in this one to help take the pressure off of the shoulders of quarterback Bo Nix. Now, we've seen Bo Nix last year in the playoffs look uncomfortable, especially against this Buffalo Bills team in the wild card round. So Bo Nix is definitely going to be looking for a bounce back performance here in his second playoff start in his career. And guys, maybe you didn't know this stat, but Bo Nix right now in his second season as an NFL starting quarterback has 24 wins, and that's tied for the most wins in the first two seasons to start an NFL career for an NFL starting quarterback. So for Bo Nix, this could be a historic victory for him and the Denver Broncos here today. If he gets the win, he will now have the most wins by any starting quarterback in his first two seasons in NFL history. So guys, not only that, Josh Allen is also playing for a little bit of history in this one, not only for the Buffalo Bills, but also for him as an individual. Going over to his stats, he's got 9 rushing touchdowns in the playoffs this season. That's tied for the second most in NFL playoff history, only behind Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts, who has 10 rushing touchdowns in his career in the playoffs. So for Josh Allen, if he's able to get 2 rushing touchdowns in this game, which could be very likely because I am expecting Josh Allen to have to use his legs in order for this offense to get the win here today, because the wide receiving core for the Buffalo Bills is just dismantled by injuries right now. We'll get to that in just a minute, but for Josh Allen, if he's able to get 2 rushing touchdowns here today, he will now have the most career rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in NFL playoff history. So just a little bit of history that both of these teams are going to be battling for, and we'll see how it goes. And man, it's going to be a fantastic matchup. Don't forget, guys, to check out my live play-by-play for the Buffalo Bills traveling to take on the Denver Broncos. They're in Mile High, where the altitude is definitely going to play a part into this football game. But guys, let's get to those key injuries for the Buffalo Bills. Their wide receiving core is not looking very good as far as their depth. Last week, in their wild card round matchup, the win they were able to get against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which, by the way, what a fantastic win. The first road playoff win for the Buffalo Bills since the early 1990s. So it's been quite a while since they were able to see some success in the NFL playoffs on the road. So for Josh Allen, he gets that monkey off of his back, and so does this Buffalo Bills franchise. But last week, guys, we seen them lose Shavers and also the other wide receiver, Gabe Davis, were both lost this week and for the rest of the playoffs with torn ACLs. That is just a bummer for this Buffalo Bills squad. They really are going to need some of these other wide receivers now to step up. Brandon Cooks has been a guy since he's been signed that has really stepped up for the Buffalo Bills wide receiving core, but we'll also see if Curtis Samuel will be able to give it a go. He is questionable right now on the injury report for the Buffalo Bills with a neck and elbow injury. He is expected to try to give it a go in this one. Also, we see running back Ty Johnson, who's a really good utility back there as the backup in that Buffalo Bills offense behind James Cook. He's questionable with an ankle injury, and he could be a big difference maker back there in that backfield if he's able to give it a go. And as far as the defense goes for the Buffalo Bills, they will be without Damar Hamlin and Jordan Phillips, their outstanding defensive tackle, and Ed Oliver, also an outstanding defensive tackle, is questionable with a biceps injury heading into this matchup. So there's a couple of key injuries to look out for here for the Buffalo Bills. Now, for the Denver Broncos, there's not a lot of key injuries to note for them, at least not of many importance, in my opinion. Now, I have said this repeatedly about the Denver Broncos. I do think the Broncos would be so much better of an offense if they still had J.K. Dobbins in this backfield. With him being gone, that's definitely hampered the running game throughout this year for them. But guys, heading into this one, I think this pass rush for the Denver Broncos is going to be be the key to look at. Not too many injuries here to focus on for the Denver Broncos on offense or defense really heading into this matchup here. So for me, guys, as far as what I'm looking at here, I think the home field advantage is going to play a big part in this one. What's going on, Trent? We got Trent, Brody, Nicholas. How we doing? Zeldar, how's everybody doing, man? Our boy Josh was in the chat as well. Thank you guys so much. Hey, we're just previewing here, guys, all the matchups coming up this weekend for the divisional round of the 2026 NFL playoffs. Hope you guys will stick around, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you guys have any questions about these upcoming matchups, don't forget to please ask me right here in the comments section. And hey, make sure you guys send some support my way, man, and I appreciate it. So yeah, guys, going over the Bills and Broncos matchup, for me, I'm really looking at how is the Bills offense going to be able to go up against this Broncos defense. That's the strength of their team. So depending on how that goes, I really do think this is going to be a matchup that comes right down to the wire. Now, for me, I'm leaning towards the Broncos, and I'm picking them in this one, and I'll tell you why. I think the home field advantage is going to play a big part. We know it's hard to play up there in Mile High Stadium with the altitude, and I know with all the injuries in the wide receiving room for this Buffalo Bills offense, it's going to be a long day. They're going to have to run the football very well, and Josh Allen's going to have to use his legs, which we know he can do. But now when we look at the other side of the football for both of these teams, for the Buffalo Bills, their defense has been okay. Their secondary doesn't give up a whole lot, but that rush defense has been terrible this season. So for the Denver Broncos, it's going to be key for them to keep the pressure off of their young quarterback, Bo Nix. Don't allow him to make too many mistakes by throwing the ball, 40, 50 times in this game. They need to have balance. They need to have RJ Harvey run the football well and be utilized out of that backfield in the passing game. The quick passing game is going to play a big part into how this Denver Broncos offense is able to get down the field, going up against a tough secondary for the Buffalo Bills. So I'm excited for this matchup here, guys. I am leaning towards the Broncos. I like their defense a little bit more than I like the Bills defense in this one. But if I was to pick the Bills in this one, the reason why I would pick the Bills would be because of the quarterbacks. I think Josh Allen is prepared for this moment. We've now seen get that monkey off his back as far as winning a road playoff game, but this is a tough environment, and I do think that Bo Nix, now already being in the playoffs once before last year in his rookie season, learning from that, I think in this one, Sean Payton is not going to allow his quarterback to make those crucial young quarterback mistakes that could leave this Buffalo Bills team in this game. For me, it's going to come down to the wire, but I do think the home field advantage and the defense will play a big part in this one, and that's why I'm predicting the Denver Broncos will get the victory in this one over the Buffalo Bills, but I'm expecting a close and exciting contest here in this one to kick off the divisional round for the 2026 NFL playoffs. Hope you guys like the preview and predictions here on Tim Reynolds Show. Don't forget, guys, to please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. All right, guys, so our next matchup coming up tonight, we've got the San Francisco 49ers traveling to take on their division rival, the Seattle Seahawks. And the number one seed in the NFC comes into this one as a 7-point favorite as Seattle looks to take advantage of that home field advantage. And that 12th man is going to be ready to go for this matchup here, especially against a divisional rival. And how about this, guys? We've got three teams from the NFC West in the divisional round of the NFC playoffs. And I really do think that this one is going to be an exciting matchup between these two division rivals. The San Francisco 49ers come into this one a little hampered on defense, and a little hampered on injuries in general from the whole team, but they will be without their all-pro tight end George Kittle in this matchup after he tore his Achilles in the wild card round. So we'll have to see if quarterback Brock Purdy can keep that road winning streak going against Seattle. He is currently 4-0 in his career in Seattle, but this is a whole different environment in the playoffs, and this Seattle defense is a tough one. As we see, the point total in this one is expected to be somewhere near 44.5 points. I might be willing to take the under in this one, with both of these defenses playing pretty good football, especially late in the season. For the 49ers, they have struggled to rush the pass, to get a pass rush and rush the quarterback, so that's going to play a big part in this one. How well will Seattle's offensive line be able to protect quarterback Sam Darnold, which, by the way, guys, big news coming into this matchup. Quarterback Sam Darnold is not at 100%. He's dealing with an oblique injury, and this could play a big part into how efficient this offense is going to be. So they're going to lean on their running backs in this one for Seattle. As we look over this matchup here, guys, I really do think that Seattle is going to need a big performance by a couple of their running backs. One, Kenneth Walker, who I think is a breakout star. He got over 1,000 rushing yards this season, even in a backfield where he didn't get the carries all the time in each game. Charbonnet has done a great job this season as well, and definitely late in the season, he was a guy that was able to be used not only in the running game with over 730 rushing yards this season, 12 touchdowns actually on the year as well, which is tied for 6th in the league, but he also was used quite a bit in the passing game, especially late in this season. And Sam Darnold is going to lean on that. That's right, guys. I expect the short passing game, the screens to the running back, the short screens to the receivers or tight ends to really play a big part in this offensive game plan for Seattle. They're going to need to run the football, use play action in the short passing game to try to make sure they don't put too much on Sam Darnold's shoulders with him dealing with that oblique injury. Now, if Darnold came into this thing 100%, I would say let it rip, because right now you guys need to get as big of a lead as you can get against this 49ers offense that, guys, let's face it, they've got playmakers right now stepping up across this offense. Tonjins is really doing a good part. The number 88 tight end, the backup there for George Kittle, has been doing a great job filling in at that tight end position. The wide receivers have been stepping up for San Francisco, and Brock Purdy, he's been playing out of his mind. And the thing that really impressed me about him last week is that he threw 2 crucial interceptions in that second half, and it did not faze the quarterback there for San Francisco. He was able to lead his team down the field to win that game in the fourth quarter, even with those 2 second half interceptions. And how about the defense? Defensive coordinator Robert Saleh has this defense for San Francisco ready for anything, guys. Even with those 2 turnovers from the offense in the second half, the defense was stout, and they shut down that dynamic Philadelphia Eagles offense all second half long. So I'm expecting to see a very motivated and hyped up San Francisco 49ers team that's coming into this one with all the momentum right now, guys. We have seen over the last 10 or so years that these number 1 seeds with these buys have not always panned out. Although it's not a completely bad thing to be able to get rested and get your guys back healthy. Sometimes when you're able to run into a hot team like the 49ers, who are coming off of a big win in Wild Card Weekend, well, that may be all the momentum that team needs to upset you in your own house. Now, for Seattle, this defense is legit. They've got a bunch of different players with sacks this season because of the unique way that Mike Macdonald likes to really send the defense, send the pressure at the opposing quarterbacks and affect the opposing offense with the pressure and the sort of moves he has the defensive lineman makes, the different blitzes that he's able to bring in, and the coverage on the back end for the Seahawks has been fantastic this year. They're one of the better tackling secondaries in the NFL, Seattle is. So I'm expecting this Seahawks defense to be a tough matchup for this 49ers offense, who they've got to run the football. We know Christian McCaffrey has had a fantastic season this year, but they have not been able to efficiently run the football down after down, formation, or I should say, drive after drive. And for me, that's going to play a big part in this one, man. You can't have Brock Purdy throwing the ball 40, 50 times in this game. And why? We already seen last week. When he gets a little bit too much on his shoulders, he tends to push the ball a little bit too much, especially if the pass rush is able to affect him. So for the 49ers, they need to help out that offensive line, run the football as best as they can, but they'll also try to use McCaffrey, I think, in very unique ways and formations. And hey, let's not forget about Jennings, the wide receiver who threw a touchdown touchdown pass last week against the Eagles to Christian McCaffrey. Look for these trick plays to really play a part in this one, and you know Kyle Shanahan's going to be in his bag looking to try to come up with something to fool Mike McDonald's defense there for Seattle. So in this one, guys, I really do think it's going to come down to which one of these offenses are able to get bigger plays down the field and which one of these defenses are able to hold the other team rushing under a certain amount of yards in this game. Because I think the team that's able to run the ball the best and also sack the quarterback the most could end up winning this game for me. And guys, when I look at this matchup, I love San Francisco, but with all the injuries, I'm really leaning to the home team, the home field advantage there with the Seattle Seahawks. But something in my gut is telling me I need to roll with the Kyle Shanahan 49ers in this one. Robert Saleh's been in his bag too as the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. I do think the Seahawks are going to be very legit teams coming in this one, man. But I think that injury to Sam Darnold has me worried, and Darnold has not proven it to me in the playoffs yet in his career. And I really think that's the only reason why, guys, Tim Reynolds Show is going with the San Francisco 49ers in this one. This was probably one of the most difficult ones for me to decide between, guys. Honestly, I think these two teams have been pretty even. We did see Seattle dominate these two, this team in the last matchup they had to end the season. So that really made me lean hard towards the Seahawks. I love the home field advantage up there in Seattle. But man, this injury late in the week to quarterback Sam Darnold, that's got me nervous, man. And I just don't know if I can pick this Seahawks team to upset this 49ers team that's coming in with a lot of momentum in this one. So for me, if Seattle's able to win, it's going to be because of their defense. They're going to be able to force some turnovers, maybe even get a defensive touchdown, and be able just to affect the quarterback Brock Purdy as much as possible and shut down that running game. Now, Seattle can do that. I do believe they have the defense to do that. But do they have the offense with quarterback Sam Darnold hampered with an injury to be able to defeat this 49ers team? It's going to be a tough one, guys. And you know what? I don't know. I may even sway my opinion back and forth with this one by the time we get to game time here. Don't forget, guys, I will be doing live play-by-play of this matchup with the 49ers taking on the Seahawks. It's a divisional matchup in the divisional round of the 2026 NFL playoffs with 3 teams from the NFC West in the divisional round playoffs in the NFC Conference. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in this one. And guys, when you look at it, defense versus defense, Seattle probably has the advantage. But when you look at quarterback versus quarterback, it does seem like the 49ers do have the advantage at the quarterback position. So for me, guys, like I said, this is a tough one to pick. I want to roll with the Seahawks, but my gut is telling me to go with Kyle Shanahan and this 49ers team. They're coming in with a little momentum in this one. So that's my prediction here for this matchup, guys. Hope you're enjoying this live stream here on Tim Reynolds Show as we preview and predict all of the divisional round matchups here in the 2026 NFL playoffs. Thank you guys so much for all your love and support. Let's get to the chat here a little bit, guys. Appreciate you. Donald will overcome adversity. He has overcome adversity his entire career, says ME. Okay. Score thinking maybe 24-17. Go Hawks, says Ugly. And we've also got the Hawks fan in the chat so much says, love you, Tim, man. 100% love your content, dude. Appreciate you, Hawk fans. Never count out Coach McDonald defeat. 100% Purdy gonna see Ghost. Oh, man, flipping it around is the Hawks fan here in the chat. Appreciate you, brother. Robert in the chat also says Bills, Rams, Super Bowl. That'd be a pretty interesting Super Bowl, no doubt about that. And Tony in the chat says, Tim, the 49ers will lose today. Oh, boy. What's up? We also got Lee Sean Walton in the chat says Drake May wins Super Bowl MVP over the Rams. Oh, man. I just don't know how much I would look forward to a Patriots-Rams Super Bowl again. The last time we seen that, it was not very exciting. All right, man. And what's up? Tony says, I don't see anything stopping Seattle, man. I understand that. And we're going to get to the Texans and Pats just in a few minutes here, just going over some more of the chats here, man. Everybody, great football time. Look great. Heck yeah, Martin. You know we had to come in with the suit, get suited and booted here for this one, guys. What's up, Christopher? How we doing? T-Mac, welcome back. And we got Will saying, go back. Bears. Heck yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about. Trent's excited for the Broncos to defeat the Bills here today. What's up, Trent? Way to call your shot there, buddy. And shout out to our member Joshua, also getting us started here today. Yo, what's up, Burger Man? We will get to that game here shortly, dude. Sonny, what's going on? What's up, Tim? How's it going? Go Bills. Heck yeah, man. Thank you for being in the chat with us here today. Tony says, man, you got a great sports voice. I appreciate you, dude. This is what I want to do in life, man. So I appreciate that, brother. All right, so let's get to our Sunday matchups now here, guys. After we went over the first two matchups in the divisional round on Sunday, we will see things kicked off with the Houston Texans traveling to take on the New England Patriots there in Foxborough at Gillette Stadium. And New England comes into this matchup as a 3-point favorite with an expected point total of 40.5. This is the lowest expected point total of the whole entire divisional round matchups, and for good reason. Both of these defenses come in playing great football. For New England, they've got a lot of playmakers on that defense, even though they're ranked near, the middle of the pack, sort of near the top 10 as far as defensive rankings this year. But the other defense, the Texans, this is the best defense coming into the NFL playoffs, and they proved it last week. A lot of people said, yeah, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their offense wasn't nothing to brag about. But, man, this defense shut them down time and time again, and that pass rush got so relentless, they ended up getting a strip sack for a fumble recovery for a touchdown on that particular game. And, man, the final score, I think, really indicated how well this Texans defense has been playing this year with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. really able to put pressure on the quarterback by themselves. This Texans defensive line gets more pressure to the quarterback with only 4 down linemen than any other defensive line in the NFL this season. So that's going to play a big part in this one, in my opinion, on who's able to win this football game. Now, I would normally lean the Patriots' way when I'm talking about this. They don't have a bad offensive line, in my opinion, but we did see some cracks in that offensive line last week going up against the Chargers defense. That was the one solid point for the Chargers in that game, which they had nothing to really brag about because the New England Patriots definitely dominated and won that game. But the defensive line for the Chargers gave the O-line for the Patriots trouble and problems all game long. Drake May was under duress. He made a couple of mistakes there that you would expect a young quarterback to make in his first playoff run. So that's going to play a big part in this one. If the Texans pass rush stays as good as we've seen them look, not only in the playoffs, but all year long, then how are the Patriots going to be able to counteract that? Well, they're going to need to lean on their running game with Stevenson and Henderson. The rookie has definitely been a playmaker in this offense, and Stevenson has definitely shown he can not only be a good playmaker running the ball, but also in the passing game out of this backfield, and they're going to need to look to use that quick passing game, those wide receiver screens, those running back screens, and even those tight end screens to help them get the pressure off of Drake May because he is going to be under duress all game long. I looked at the tape and man, that left tackle Campbell had a tough day last week against that Chargers defensive line and Khalil Mack. So I think they're going to match up Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter on that left tackle as much as they can. So this O-line could be susceptible to a lot of pass rush from this Texans defense. But let's get to the other part of this matchup here. The Texans offense going up against New England's defense. Now, we know that head coach Mike Vrabel is a guy who knows how to draw up some pretty good defensive schemes to help his defense out. And I'm telling you this, guys, it's going to come down to what this Texans offense can do because CJ Stroud, he just did not look good last week, guys. That pass rush for the Steelers really disrupted him all game long, and that O-line has been a problem for the Texans throughout the year. So if I'm expecting this D-line for the Patriots to give CJ Stroud trouble, which means Stroud's going to need to get that running game going, and the offense needs to make sure that they protect their quarterback as best as possible because New England can force some turnovers, and they've got a lot of playmakers that key positions all across this defense. And as a matter of fact, guys, as we look at the injury report here for this one, New England comes into this one getting back their outstanding playmaking cornerback, Christian Gonzalez, who cleared concussion protocol and will be able to play in this game. But a couple of injuries to note here for this Patriots team. Harold Landry III, who I believe leads the team in sacks, the outstanding pass rusher and linebacker, is questionable for this game with a knee injury. And then another injury that not very many people are talking about, but I think is very important. Mac Hollins, the veteran wideout, being out of this game. He's on IR right now with an abdominal injury. I don't know if this injury will keep him out of the entire playoffs, but I do think that he's a key loss for this offense because he's a veteran guy that was out there and was kind of a security blanket for quarterback Drake May. Now, in my opinion, what May's going to need to do is lean on his tight ends and running backs in this one, or maybe even the quick wide receiver screen game or slant game could work pretty well. But this secondary for the Texans is also a big playmaking secondary. They're able to get a lot of interceptions and bat a lot of passes down. And we seen that last week against the Steelers with a pick six. And not only that, both of these corners on the outside kept making plays all game long. So this is going to probably be the toughest matchup of Drake May's young career. And being in the playoffs, will he crack under pressure? I'm not sure, man. It's going to really come down to the wire in this one, guys. I think looking here at the Texans injuries, this is going to play a big part, in my opinion, on why I'm going to roll with who I'm going to roll with in this one, guys, okay? Nico Collins, the number one wideout on that offense for the Texans, will be out for Houston, dealing with that concussion that he suffered last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's going to be a big loss for this offense, in my opinion. And not only that, we also see offensive tackle Trent Brown is questionable for this game with an ankle injury. So looking at those particular injuries and what we already seen from this Texans offense last week going up against a Pittsburgh Steelers offense that, in my opinion, is very similar to the New England Patriots offense, or I should say defense, and who they have on that defensive side of the ball when it comes to playmakers. So for me, really looking at this, I think the Patriots defense is probably a little bit better than what the Steelers put out there last week. So I really think that that's going to be the key in this one, guys. I don't know if I can trust quarterback CJ Stroud to have a better bounce back performance after what we seen last week. Now, if this offensive line can give Stroud protection and they can run the football, they've got the defense that if they can just get a little bit of a lead in this one, they may be able to hold on to it. But guys, for me, I've got to roll with the home team in this one, as Tim Reynolds Show is predicting the New England Patriots get the victory over the Houston Texans. And guys, I honestly didn't think I was going to make this pick. I love this Texans defense. I'm a diehard Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, and I know, just like a lot of diehard football fans know, that defense wins you championships. But I just don't know if I can trust this Texans offense and quarterback CJ Stroud to get it done on the road, especially without their number one wideout in Nico Collins. It's going to be a tall hill to climb for this Texans team, and I do think that that's what's going to come down to. I trust that the defense for New England is going to be able to disrupt this Texans offense that has, let's face it, been a little up and down all year long. And for me, the Patriots just need to find a way to sort of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Sort of like avoid the pass rush, like make plays away from that particular pass rush and try to get the ball out of the hands of quarterback Drake May quickly, because that's what's going to help them get the victory in this one. That's why Tim Reynolds Show is rolling with the New England Patriots in this one. I don't feel all that great about it because this Texans defense is legit, but head coach Mike Vrabel, I think, is going to draw up a great defensive game plan for this team, and it's going to come down to how Drake May plays compared to CJ Stroud. So I think May will probably be able to win that particular matchup. So then, guys, finally, for our last matchup here in the divisional round of the 2026 NFL playoffs, we've got the Los Angeles Rams coming into Soldier Field to take on the Chicago Bears. And these cardiac Bears are They are underdogs, guys. They are not favored in this matchup. The Rams come into this one as a 4.5-point favorite. Now, for me, looking at that, I was a little shocked, but I think they're rolling with the experience of this Rams team. But the weather, guys, is going to play a big part in this one. It's scheduled to be about 21 degrees near kickoff, but the feel-like temperature could be anywhere ranging from about 11 degrees all the way down to a negative 11 degrees throughout the game. And they're actually saying near the second half of this one, you could expect to see temperatures that feel like either 1 degree or 0 degrees there on the field at Soldier Field in Chicago. So with the possibility of snow, really low cold temperatures, that could play a big part in the favor of the Chicago Bears in this one. But let's face it, guys, this team is called the Cardiac Bears for a reason. They've come back in so many fourth quarters, and they looked dead last week against the Green Bay Packers until that fourth quarter started. So you cannot rule out this Chicago Bears team no matter who you are. And for me, I'm leaning towards the Rams just to start out this preview here talking about it, because I trust Matthew Stafford, who is clearly, in my opinion, the MVP this year. Only quarterback Drake may have something to say about that as far as the MVP trophy this season in the NFL. But it's going to come down to, can we see this offense run efficiently? Because I got nervous for this Rams offense the way they struggled against the Carolina Panthers last week. And I do think that the Bears have a similar defense to what Carolina had last week going up against these Rams. So for me, we're going to need to see head coach Sean McVay really get in his bag of tricks and dial up a good offensive game plan in this one, because Stafford shouldn't be throwing the ball 50 times in this game. And I'm only saying that because the weather is going to dictate this to be an old school sort of defense and run game type of scenario. Now, for Kyren Williams, they have not really leaned on him a whole lot. They've actually used more of a two running backfield, with Blake Corum getting a lot more play time over the last few weeks. So I'm wondering how that's going to play into this offensive game plan. But guys, Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams are on fire right now. And how about the tight end, Kobe Parkinson? This guy caught the go-ahead touchdown last week. That was probably one of the best catches of his career, if not the best catch. So these guys on this Rams offense have a lot of playmakers, and it's going to come down, can that offensive line give Matthew Stafford enough time back there? But hey, that's some good news as we get into the injury report here for both the Rams and the Bears. For the Rams, they're going to get back their offensive guard, Dotson, who started every game this season but was not able to play last week in the wild card round. So that's a good addition for this Rams team. Now, looking at the injury report here for the Chicago Bears, Rome Odunze, the outstanding wide receiver, is questionable in this one, still dealing with that foot injury that made him miss 3 to 4 games over the course of the end of the season for Chicago. We did see Jalen Revis-Maybin, the playmaking linebacker, is also questionable here for this one, and a tough loss last week. TJ Edwards, the playmaking linebacker for the Chicago Bears, suffered a lower leg injury, and he is now on IR and will be out the rest of the playoff run for Chicago. So looking at some of those key injuries, also for the Chicago Bears, wide receiver DJ Moore is dealing with a knee injury, but is expected to play, which is a good sign for them. The Rams, they also will be without their outstanding defensive back, Witherspoon, who was put on IR with a shoulder injury that he suffered during the wild card round last week. So looking at this matchup, guys, I do think the home field advantage is going to play a big part in this one, especially with the weather. This team for the Chicago Bears knows how to run the football, and that's what's going to be key for them going up against this very good Rams defense. Although when you look at the numbers, this Rams defense really struggled near the end of the season this year, and also we've seen them struggle in the second half against the Carolina Panthers last week as well. So really, this is going to come down to which one of these offenses can make the least amount of mistakes and which one of these quarterbacks can take advantage of their opportunities with the defenses. Now, for Chicago, they're a playmaking defense that does like to get a lot of takeaways. They're number 1 this year in the NFL when it comes to takeaways. takeaways, and they're going to need a couple of turnovers in order for them to get their offense in better field position and allow them to be able to take advantage of that field position and be able to get points on the board, because they struggled through 3 quarters last week getting points on the board, and field goals are not going to cut it, guys. You might as well just throw the field goals out of the freaking window when it comes to this game because of how high the winds are going to be, how cold it's going to be. Nobody's going to want to trust a kicker in this particular game, and we know how windy it is there in Soldier Field. So when you look at the weather, looking at these two teams, I want to pick the Bears, I really do, but I got to go with Sean McVay, who has been here before. I've got to go with the quarterback in Matthew Stafford that has been here before. I do think that this Rams team is legit, so Tim Reynolds Show's prediction for this one, I'm rolling with the Los Angeles Rams to get the road win in this one. The Bears, man, look, you got to wait till the end, right? This game will come down to the wire in that fourth quarter. This is the way Chicago has played all year long. You can't count them out. But for me, I think that Sean McVay and the quarterback Matthew Stafford are going to have a little bit more of an advantage in this particular matchup going up against the first-year head coach Ben Johnson and the first-year playoff quarterback and Caleb Williams. So for me, guys, I've got to roll with the Rams in that one. And thank you guys for hanging out here on Tim Reynolds Show for this preview and prediction for the 2026 NFL playoffs divisional round matchups. And guys, we've only got 7 NFL games left this season, so let's try to enjoy them all. Don't forget, guys, to check out my live play-by-play for each one of these divisional round matchups this weekend in the 2026 NFL playoffs. We'll be doing live play-by-play for every single one of them right here on Tim Reynolds Show. Thank you guys so much. Let's get to the comments real quick before we get off the channel here. Just want to say thank you guys again for all the love and support. What's up, Unk Prides? We got you in the chat, and Kevin, one of our members, says H-Town. Let's go. Salute, Big Tim. Appreciate you, man. Bills fan also in the chat. Let's go. Ray says the Rams gonna kick some butt. Heck yeah, man. We're coming out swinging in this one, San Francisco. Heck yeah, man. And Jamie, happy as heck that they fired their offensive coordinator there for the Eagles fans. What's going on, Jamie? Welcome back into the chat, man. I see Stanford losing because he's not indoors. Man, I don't know about that. Stafford's proven to be a pretty dang good quarterback, whether it's indoors or outdoors or not. Now, if this was Jared Goff, we may have a different question there. NFL's about storylines, y'all. That's why my Pats won and after 9-11. So that's the only storyline left in the playoffs. No one wants to see the Bears versus the Texans Super Bowl, says Lee Sean. Hey, man, maybe. I mean, that might be a little exciting, especially with the defenses. What's up, Joe? How we doing? Hope everybody's doing well. Heck yeah, man. 21st anniversary of the Pats beating the greatest show on turf, the Rams, in 2001. Hey, could be the Patriots here. Could be the Patriots here. What's up, Casual? We got Mikey. Mike says go Pats as well. Yo Boy Burger says Houston winning for sure. Heck yeah, man. All right, guys, well, that's pretty much catching up here on all the comments. I really do appreciate you guys hanging out here on Tim Reynolds Show for this preview and predictions for the 2026 NFL Playoffs divisional round, and hope you guys enjoy all the live play-by-play you're going to see from Tim Reynolds Show here for all these matchups this weekend. Thank you guys for liking and subscribing to the channel, and make sure you guys check out the next live play-by-play right here on one of the most electrifying sports entertainment channels on YouTube today. This is Tim Reynolds Show. Now let's go, baby. We are going to have a fantastic playoff weekend here, guys, with only 7. That's right, 7 NFL games left in the season, guys, before we get to championship weekend next week and Super Bowl weekend 3 weeks later. So thank you guys so much for hanging out on the channel. Peace out. We'll see you guys next time on Tim Reynolds Show. Peace out.